information I need to know? Okay,
very good. Okay. The Gemara says.
There's a good answer space out then.
But you nodded first. Okay. Gunva, go.
Yeah, of course. That's automatic.
Right. So what does the Gemara say? Pay him a base, 2 months on the bottom.
What do you mean?
No, again, that's the man.
If they steal,
If you kidnap someone.
you don't sell him. So
No, that's one case. Second case.
Machru, if you sell him, the other and the witnesses are.
No, the Adayin.
Or testifying.
No, the Adayin.
Oh, and it's enough?
No.
He still is.
Still.
It's very.
Yesh no Bershuso.
Yes, no,
Will he still
Learning?
look at Rashi last line. Close.
There's just Haganev Atzmo by himself.
No, read that word again. Bershus.
There's just Hanignav of kidnapper.
So he's still in the Rishus? He's still in David Cohen's house.
There's just Hanignav.
I go to kidnap David Cohen. He's still there, and I sell David.
It says Atzmo by himself. Is that he's chilling?
No, he's still in. He's by himself in his own Rishus, meaning that you haven't taken him to your Rishus. Okay. So Dayan Lo Chniso, I didn't bring him to my Rishus. Gonev Bershuso. Right. So what's the problem? The problem is that.
So he's still.
Well, I've done Mechira. I did Emor. Let's assume I did Mechira, but I didn't do that one. Okay, I didn't do transfer to Rishus.
How do you sell him?
You sell them.
Is there
There's a slave market?
Is there a specific amount of time you have to keep?
No. So what does the Gemara say? In those two situations, if you kidnap the guy and you let's say you kidnap him and you don't sell him, okay? If you kidnap a guy and you don't sell him, or you sell him while he's still in your rishus, okay?
Yeah.
You are pater.
You mean it's still in my rishus?
Yeah.
You can have his rishus.
How
Right.
can you kidnap someone in their own rishus?
What?
How can you kidnap someone in their own rishus?
Well, I tie him up.
In his own house?
Yeah.
Is this
Okay.
Padra
But you see that's a,
Is this Padra Usher?
you're not a good. Yes, for now. But the point is, you're not chayv misa.
I still don't feel like it's kidnapping until you.
So but there's a very basic question you have to ask in this Gemara. What's the question you have to ask in this Gemara? Like a bullseye. The question is that, forget the second one. Let's look at the first one. Gun vavalo makra. What do you mean gun vavalo makra? But you need mechira in order to be chayv in kidnapping.
Right.
So why would the Gemara?
Yes, there's
Why
two
would,
things, not three things.
we did, I'm going to get that in a second. That's down here. But the Gemara doesn't make any sense. Why would the Gemara ever say, if you did one of the two, you're pater? Of course, if you didn't want to do your pater, because you need to do both. How many for lulav and esrog? Okay, how many minim do we have? How many species are there? Four. Would the Gemara ever say if a guy only picked up hadassim, lulav, and esrog, he's not yotzei? The Gemara wouldn't waste your time on that. Why? Because have arba minim means arba minim. It doesn't mean 3 of the 4. It's 4. If you require these things to be chayiv in kidnapping, why would the Gemara ever waste time to say?
What if you didn't have one?
If you didn't have one, and now specifically this one. Why mechira?
The seller?
Why mechira? Yeah. Why mechira?
Oh, because.
You can't answer it yet.
Oh, okay.
Minayim. No. Where does the warning? Okay.
Where's the warning?
For kidnapping come from? Where's the source of kidnapping in the Torah? Okay.
Rabbi Shai says, Milo Siga, from Milo Siga.
Good.
Milo Im Charu.
Mim Karis Evan. So 1 second. So you have funny machlokas? Right, the Gemara is saying, what's the source for kidnapping? So one side says the source of kidnapping is Lo Signov. The other side says the source of kidnapping is, I'll explain this in a second, is Mim Karis Evan. Okay, so what does the Gemara say?
Below plea, they don't argue. Mar Kachashiv, Lav Geneva.
Good. So one side is saying that he learns the Isser Geneva from Lo Signov, and the other side learns out the Isser of Mechira from Mim Karis Evan. Okay, so what does this all mean? So, there are 2 lavim, there are 2 isurim. This is what we started off with yesterday, remember? There are 2 isurim by kidnapping, okay? One Isser is Lo Signov. The second one is Lo Simkru Mim Karis Evan, which means you can't sell someone. Now, this Isser of selling someone, okay, exists outside without kidnapping. In general, I can't go up to Pinsky and sell him. Okay, I'm over Nisser. Okay, now, so when would you be over the lav of Mimkaris Eved? Right, when you do Mechira, and when are you over the lav of Lo Signov? When you do these two, right? These two produce Lo Signov, and this produces Mimkaris Eved.
And if you do all of them, you get a new one?
Oh, okay, now we're talking. And if you do these together, what do you get? This.
Is that like 3 or
Kidnapping.
is that 1?
No, one second. So this is what makes it so difficult, okay? Now, I know, Dub, remember I said this yesterday, you weren't so impressed with it, but it is something to think about. You have a very strange Isser here. You have a very strange Isser. What's strange about this Isser?
It's like 200?
Well, more than that. How is this Isser constructed?
If 2 is 0.
Oh, okay, but you can have that.
Okay.
Okay, you can have 2 Isurim, okay? But what's interesting about how this specific one is being...
You have to have a combination.
Okay, so you have a combination, okay? Which in itself is strange.
Usually on a low say it's just one thing.
Okay, right. Well, let me ask a question. If I asked you, you're the Torah. I'm not trying to get into God's mind, okay? But you developed the halachic system, and I told you, tell me what the Isser of Lo Signov is. Okay, what would you say the Isser of Lo Signov is?
Taking someone to your rishus and controlling them.
Okay, but I don't even know. You're being too sophisticated. I would just say there's a new Isser called kidnapping that's comprised of these 3 things.
Right.
New Isser. New Isser. Okay, what's strange about this Isser?
There's Issers within the Isser.
What?
Within the Isser, there's Isserim.
Well, you have this. This is new.
Are you only
Lo
over
Signov
1?
is new, right?
Right.
This is not. Right? Memkeres Eved exists outside of.
outside.
So what does the Torah do? The Torah takes Lo Signov, okay? It says what defines you as Lo Signov, Rishus and Imor, and then it introduces this. It brings in a pre-existing Isser. Why is it done? What? I can't tell you why God did it that way, but what do we learn out about the fact that it's structured in such a way? What's strange about doing it that way? What's strange is that you're taking this Isser, which already exists outside Gneva, and bringing it into, like, combining it with Lo Signov. You understand? That's not done. That's rare. You don't have that. Okay? This is not a trick. You look at me like I'm trying to trick you. I'm not.
No, I'm like, what are you saying?
You want to know where I'm going with this?
No.
What I'm saying is
Exactly what you're saying.
in other words, there's 2 logical ways you're going to construct the Isser of Lo Signov. One is that to create a new Isser called kidnapping. It's Aser. Okay? And that means if I do these 3 things, I'm going to Nefashos. Okay? I'm over the Isser of going to Nefashos. But that's not what the Torah did. The Torah said that no, if you do these 2, you're over Lo Signov. And when you do this, you're over Memkeres Eved. So it means they took, now, so first thing is they took 2 separate Isurim.
You're saying it should
That's one thing.
Memkeres Nignov.
Memkeres Nignov. Okay. Good, but hold on. You're more right than you unbelievably know. Okay. Seriously, you'll see. But so one thing that's strange is that you have these 2 components. But what's even stranger is that the second component, the Torah borrows from an Isser that already exists.
But the first 2 don't exist, besides?
No.
Okay.
Why did it do it that way? Or I should say that. What do we learn out from the fact that it's done that way? That's the question I want to ask. And the reason why I'm asking that question, because that's going to help us answer why the Gemara is a Havmina of Gonev Lo Machra. So what do I mean? Okay, so let me ask you this, all right? Assume you understand that, okay? The Rambam says, and it's based on halacha, you're over Lo Signov, okay? So I kidnap a guy, okay? And that means I do Rishus and Imor, and then I sell him. So I'm over both Isurim, okay? What am I punished for?
One. Wait,
Which one? Oh, no, you said it. It's good. Which one am I punished for?
Kidnapping.
Why?
Because that's what you did.
But what do you get if I do Memkeres Eved normally?
I don't know.
Malchus. Malchus, right? So the normal, it's as a technicality, I can't. You get the worst one. I can't get both, right? If you're already Chai Misa, you're not going to get Malchus.
Right.
So I get Misa. Okay. So now, what's strange about that? What's strange about that? If you can figure out.
You're really getting Misa for the first 2 because.
No. It's good. Okay.
You don't see it come out. It's not shown.
Right. So that's what's strange. That's the strangest part. You have this.
But that concept exists.
Hold on. You're chayav to do these 3 things. You're over 2 Isurim, right? But there's never an expression in the system of Onshim of this.
But you have that.
What do you mean you have that?
In other places where you have your chayav chanek and your chayav.
Right. So and what happens when you're chayav those 2? What happens?
You get streifa.
Right. Why?
Because it's worse.
Right. And what? Okay. So what do we call that when that happens? When you have a combination, you have 2 things you're really chayav in. Well, it's an English word, right? You're getting off on a technicality, right? It's a technicality because you can't do both.
Right.
So 1 second, I can understand if you had a convergence of events that led to this, but why is this set up this way? This is set up. It's set up this way that you'll never be chayiv in both. Excuse me, onshim. Because mechira is never expressed in the system of onshim.
Because
why set it up that way?
Maybe because when you think about kidnapping, you don't think about the mechira part.
Why not?
Tigno would just implies stealing and.
So let me tell you what I think that was bothering the Havmina. Okay, you guys are all there. You're there. What's bothering the Havmina? What's bothering the Havmina is like this. Okay, what's the Torah doing? The Torah is taking Memkaris Eved and putting it together with Lo Signov. Very nice. Okay, but here's the problem. On the one hand, you want to tell me, that you're chayiv. That in order to be chayiv and going into fashos, I have to do these three things, which equals 2 azharos, 2 isurim. Not 2 azharos, 2 isurim. Okay? So, on the one hand, you're telling me that Mimkeres Eved is critical in order to be defined as going into fashos. It's essential. On the other hand, it's never expressed as an ownership in the halachic system. Okay?
Well, no, maybe it is, though, because maybe like the first 2 plus that equals Misa.
No, but the first 2 are Lo Signov.
Is that a separate?
Yes.
And what do you get for that?
Nothing in and of itself. Maybe Malchus. I'm saying in and of itself, nothing.
So maybe like a Malchus plus a Malchus equals a Misa.
No. That's not the way it works.
No?
No.
Why not?
No. Because it's just not the way it works.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so what happened?
The why not is a question I'm not good at answering.
What happened to Emor?
No, the Emor is part of this. Emor is part of Lo Signov.
Oh,
okay? Now, why am I saying all this? Okay? Because this is where the Svara comes in. Okay? The Svara part. Because there's 2 ways, in my opinion, you could look at how these 2 things work together. What are the 2 ways? We'll use chemistry as an example to explain this. Okay? In other words, one way to look at the relationship between Lo Signov and Mimkeres Eved is to say that you need both, meaning I do one plus the other one, and that equals kidnapping. So let's say I take oil and water. Okay? Yes, oil and water. Okay? And I mix them together. Okay? Can I mix oil and water together?
They separate.
Oh, can I mix them together?
Yes.
I can mix them together, right? They're existing side by side. I have an oil-water mixture, but what doesn't happen?
They don't bind.
The osmosis? Is that right, though?
Solution.
What?
It won't become a solution.
It will become a solution, right? Which means what?
It means they're not really they can't be combined ever. Really.
Okay, but you're correct. But what's actually happening? There's one. I'm mixing.
One is.
Do they become one, or is it like side by side? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so what I want to know is, so when you mix the oil and water together, right? So the fact they don't mix means one important thing. They can exist next to each other, but one
become one.
One will always be.
You're right. Well, they can't become one. But if they can't become one, what does that mean if they can't become one? I know I'm looking for something here. I understand.
They're
They're
separate.
different from each other. They cannot be the same.
More than that.
They do different things. They're different compounds.
No. Darts. What does it mean? They are different compounds, but it means that one doesn't affect the other.
Okay.
If they don't combine, by definition, that means that one can't affect the other. Oil and water mixed together, the oil doesn't affect the water.
Right, the water.
Right? They don't take on the properties of each other,
Right.
which means that they coexist side by side. They produce oil-water mixture, but they don't have an effect from each other.
Okay.
The Torah doesn't. The Gemara doesn't like that. So what does happen then, according to the Gemara?
They become a mixture.
They affect each other.
Okay, and how do they affect each other? Ezra, say what you said before. When you're doing mechira, who are you selling? Are you selling a human, or who are you selling? A nignav. That's what someone who's kidnapped. That's what makes this a different type of mimkaris eved. Do you understand? In other words, like
You're
this.
not selling a person, you're selling a kidnapped person.
Right. It's not that, which means that this is. To me, it's a profound idea. It means that Lo Signov is affecting the Mimkaris Eved. When you sell the guy, you're not doing the normal Isser of selling a dude. You're selling a Nignav. So you need it to be defined as Nignav before you sell the guy. So therefore, what's happening? Like in chemistry, this is affecting the Mimkaris Eved. So what the Gemara's Havamina was, it wasn't saying, of course you need Mechira to be overgrown in fashos. What's bothering the Gemara is that how do these things work together? What's the relationship between Lo Signov and Mechira? Because it seems like conceptually, this can exist independently from this. Not that you won't be chayiv and go to the fashos, but this can exist conceptually independently. Why? Because they're 2 separate isurim. And you see in the system of onshim and punishment, only one of them is really expressed right? So which would imply that conceptually one can exist independent. So what must you answer? It's not that there are two Isurim, one is kidnapping and the other one is Mimkaris Eved. The Isur of Mimkaris Eved is to sell someone who's defined as a Nignav. And that can only exist if you've had this take place. So this is actually affecting this Isur. That's
like
pretty cool. The next Gemara says, Machra v'dain yeshno b'rshuso. Right? Now I've done a Mechira. But what am I lacking in? Rashi says, B'rshus ha-nignav. He's lacking in his definition as a nignav. I've done a Mechira, but what haven't I done? I haven't done a Mechira on a nignav. So that's why I wouldn't be chayav. You understand? The guy has to be defined as a nignav in order for Mimkaris Eved to work. It means that there's a different kind of relationship. It's not that the Torah took two Isurim and had them exist side by side, 1 + 1 equals it. It means that one affects the other. So Signav affects it. You can make one deduction, which is that, I think, let's see if David will get it. What's the one deduction you can make? In other words, there's Lo Signav, there is a pre-existing thing in the halachic system, and Mimkaris Eved is a pre-existing thing in the halachic system. So why wouldn't the Torah just make up a whole new Isser? The fact is choosing things that...
You get punished for each one of those.
More than that.
Alone.
What was the original point you made about kidnapping? What can't you ultimately do?
You can't really sell a person.
You don't really own a person.
Right. So because of that, that's why
There's
it
no
could
real
be...
thing of kidnapping.
Right, exactly. It could be. It could be. I can't prove this, and forgive me for gross speculation, but it could be that the problem is that since there's no real way to kidnap someone ultimately, if the Torah would have created a new Isser, you would have thought to yourself, oh, there is an intrinsic reality to this. When the fact that it's using pre-existing halachic concepts to fuse together tells you one thing all along. It's always about you're relating to the thing, not the thing itself.
No real kidnapping.
Right. Exactly. I can't prove that, but I'm positing it.